Hello and welcome to our high school game night basketball preseason show. I'm Chad Landers and I'll be your host for the next half hour. We've had so much success and interest in our football preseason show, we decided why not preview the upcoming LL basketball season. So here we go, hope you enjoy. There has been a lot of changes to high school sports this year, thanks to the PIAA expanding the classifications. There are now 6 classes in basketball, which will clearly affect postseason matchups. But there's another kind of change coming to the Lancaster Lebanon League. Officials have gone to a 3-section format, and that will make some teams head out on the move where we will see some new title races this year. Let's take a look at Section 1. There you see Warwick, Hempfield, Manheim Township, J.P. McCaskey, those are the normal teams there, but Conestoga Valley and Lebanon have moved up this year. Over to Section 2. Well, that means a lot of big changes there to Section 2. 4 teams staying put. Ephrata, Solanco, Garden Spot, Elizabethtown, but 4 new teams are joining the party. Calico, Lampeter, Strasburg, Manheim Central, and Donegal. This one might be the most fun to cover all year. And that means everybody else there in Section 3, it's mostly Section 4 teams, but that no longer exists. Defending Section 4 champ in both boys and girls is Lancaster Catholic. Elko, Northern Lebanon, come on down from Section 3 there, and they form up Section 3, the new Section 3. So it takes some getting used to, but the rivalries are sure to heat up quickly. And while we're talking about change, let's give you a look here at some of the new head coaches from our local teams in the LL League. There's a couple of them. On the girls' side, Ephrata's Mike Garman calls it a career. In steps Todd Moyer. For Calico, Tony DiMatteo ends his successful run with the Lady Eagles. His assistant now, Andrew Garrett, in control over there in Denver. And CV, they've got Doug Helsel now in charge of the program. Quickly on the boys' side, as you see there, Calico gives Travis Whelan a nice send-off, winning a game in districts for him. It is now Seth Sigmund leading the Eagle program. So that's a lot of change to the Lancaster Lebanon League, and all it really means is a ton of storylines for us to cover this winter, which we like. But coming up after the break, we will pay a visit to Manheim Central, where their boys basketball program is building a tradition of excellence. Hear from the Barons as they get set for another season full of high expectations. Our preseason show continues in just a minute. Welcome back to the preseason show, joined now by the head coach of Manheim Central boys basketball, Chris Sherwood. Really got the program going in the right direction here. So again, thanks for taking some time to sit down with us.
Thanks for having me.
So this is your 7th year with the program. And again, you've had some of the most successful seasons in program history. When you started 7 years ago, look back at that. Have you surpassed some expectations, or what were the expectations?
7 years ago is a long time. I don't remember the expectations per se, but listen, we wanted to compete for a district title. And we wanted to compete for a league title. We wanted to compete for a section title. Mm-hmm. These were all our goals. I didn't know if they were doable. Like, if you look at the history didn't tell us that it was possible. We knew we had players in the program. I knew that there were athletes. I knew that we could win here. Have we passed expectations? I would say we probably did. If you told me that in the last, when I started, that in 7 years we're going to be playing in the Giant Center on 8 different occasions, we're going to play in 2 state playoff games where we're going to play against NBA caliber players, we're going to win a state playoff game up in Scranton. Yeah, I would have taken that. Tell me where to sign. I would have signed up for that.
Right, and you mentioned those teams, the Matt Walshes, the Tony Staffieri, everybody involved in those teams. Had to be a lot of fun. Did you ever take time to just appreciate it after it was over, to reflect on it?
I think there will be a time when I really reflect on it and really say, boy, I've been really fortunate. I've coached a lot of good players who have worked hard to be really successful. And the truth is, this starts my first year back, the 2010-2011 season. We had a lot of leadership. The program took a major hit. The community took a major hit with the loss of Devon Lee in the car accident, who still today, you can bring me to tears just thinking about it. But we had a lot of senior leadership that year, and they pulled together. They kind of pulled the program together, those seniors that year. We won a league playoff game for the first time ever. So there was something magical that they had in them. That kind of started something that basketball was important. Basketball was important to that community that year for more than basketball reasons. It was a getaway. It was where we came to kind of be together and hug together and kind of get through the tragedy that had happened. So I always credit that team started this process to really have success. And then you put in the Matt Walsh's and the Tony Stafiris and the Josh Flanagans,
right.
You know.
You had to feel like the luckiest coach in the LL to have all that talent.
Oh yes, absolutely. I still feel that way today. Listen, this job is a great job. I've been saying now for years, this is the hidden gem job. When I started here, I think the winning percentage for the last 40 years combined was something like 28%. I'm talking like I think it was like .287. Okay. So, you know, I'm no John Wooden. Listen, I showed up at the right time, and we had a bunch of players that could play, and we kind of all came together, and they bought into what we were selling, and everything kind of fell into place, and we've had some great years, and I'm fortunate, as anybody is, to be a part of that.
You have one holdover from those years now. It's Taylor Funk. What a holdover that is. I mean, the guy's 6'9", he can shoot the three ball, he's a future Division I prospect. Talk to us about the gift that was Taylor Funk walking into your practice as a freshman.
Yeah, a gift as a 7th grader. I received a phone call. It was the night of the Steelers were playing the Ravens. It was Sunday night. It was a Sunday night football night. I won't forget it. And a gentleman was on the other line, on the other side of the phone, saying, "How does a homeschool kid play?" And listen, I didn't realize that was going to be Taylor Funk, but that was Taylor Funk's father.
Wow. You sound like you have a lot of seniors on this team, and him included, so he's clearly the leader there. You know, you've been in a familiar spot with this before. What are the expectations? Are you setting the bar high for these guys?
Absolutely, the bar is high. You know, I think not that I'm setting it high. I think they've set it high for themselves, and we've talked about it. Our past has set the bar high now. And listen, that's what we want. We're not taking it easy on ourselves. Our expectations are high. Our expectations, you know, I'll use the cliche of competing every night, but we want those competitive nights to be wins, and we're putting everything we have into what we have right now.
How does Manheim Central kind of fit into Section 2? Things have been shaken up there a little bit.
I love Section 2. This is going to be great. I think this Section 2 is exciting every single night. I think it's just every single night we have a game that matters. There are fantastic teams. You know, we're talking about LS, we're talking about Cocalico, we're talking about Ephrata, we're talking about Garden Spot, Solanco. You know, by the way, Ephrata has a really good coach too.
We know. He's a disciple, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, you know, Coach Fisher's going to do great things at Ephrata, and his guys are going to be ready to play every night. I realized he was part of that. So he was part of that success that we talked about. He's just going to be great. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for this section. I think this section is absolutely fantastic. We're going to have a blast.
Well, if the last 4 years are any indication, it is going to be very exciting to cover Manheim Central basketball and see kind of how Section 2 shakes out. Thanks again so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate it. We got to go catch up with your star player now, do a little shoot around and some Q&A.
Great.
We're now over here at Spooky Nook Sports to catch up with Manheim Central's team leader and leading scorer, Taylor Funk. Thanks for joining us. Are you ready to shoot around and answer a couple of questions for us?
I'm absolutely ready.
Nice. All right, so it's been a couple of great years for you, 3 years. Tell us what it's been like to play for Manheim Central and all the great teammates you've had.
Well, it's been great. I mean, coaching has been incredible. The teammates, the great guys. We never had any trouble with any of the guys. We stay out of trouble. We have a lot of fun when we play. We're just all good friends, and we know how to play basketball. We know how to have fun with it.
Now, for the first 3 years, you've done a ton of scoring for this team, and you just went over the 1,000-point mark last year. What was that experience like for you, and were you happy that it was finally over?
Yeah, I was. I would have liked to have it at a home court, but it was all right. I mean, Elko, the fans were great. I mean, afterwards, I'm good friends with some of the teammates, or some of the guys in Elko, and they came up to me, got some pictures, talked to each other, and it was fun.
All right, Taylor, you are such a unique talent on the basketball court. You're 6'9", so everybody anticipates that you'd be under the basket, but no, you find yourself out here by the three-point line, and you're actually really deadly from out here. So when did you figure that out, and how did that become your thing?
When I was little, I would play with my dad, and we'd always play with older guys, and I couldn't dribble, I couldn't go inside, or they just block it. So my dad said, you can play with us as long as you either catch and pass or catch and shoot, no dribbling. I guess it paid off.
Okay, so where exactly then is your favorite place to shoot from behind the three-point arc?
My favorite place is right where I'm standing.
Okay, all right. Don't shoot yet. We will test you later, all right? But we'll get back to that. Talk to us a little bit about the recruitment process. That's a big deal for everybody in high school. Obviously, early on, you figured out you were going to play at a pretty high level. Tell us about why you picked where you went and kind of how that all went down for you.
I picked St. Joe's. The coach, I mean, he's incredible. He's like a father, and that's what he preaches. He preaches family, school, basketball, but he's told me, he said, I'm going to be your dad for the next 4 years, and that's exactly what I wanted in a coach.
Phil Martelli said that to you.
He did.
All right, Taylor, it's your last year for Manheim Central, and the team is filled with seniors, so that's a good thing. You've been through this situation before, although you were an underclassman, but a team filled with upperclassmen. How good can this team really be, and how will you guys surprise everyone?
It definitely can be good. I mean, senior heavy, that always helps, especially in the fourth quarter when times are tough. Tie game, couple minutes to go. Experience on the floor definitely helps a lot.
And people are obviously going to look to you, so is the defense. So who are some of the guys that maybe could take that final shot and win a game for Manheim?
I think anyone on our team right now. I mean, Connor Hostetter, he's a knockdown shooter. Roman Wagner, Trevor Hostler, Tyler Lyons. I mean, we all can score the basket, and that's what's really going to help us this year.
One final test. Again, I apologize. We're not in school, but we are at your favorite spot on the court. Let's end the interview on a good note. All right, make this one.
All right.
There you have it. Never a doubt. Taylor Funk, thanks so much for joining us today.
You.
Have a great season. Coming up after the break, we will take a look at more of the impact players around the Lancaster 11 League that should really shine this year. Spoiler alert, Taylor will be one of them. We'll be right back.
Fury, long lead pass to Funk, and he'll jam it.
That might be his first dunk of the year. Well, Dirt just threw that up from way downtown and sinks it. Whoa! Stauffer again, why not? Oh, 3 in a row.
All back. Brian Noski.
Man, he's going to be the player of the game.
Welcome back. You just saw highlights of a few players we feel will have a huge impact on this basketball season. One of them we've actually talked to in the show already. It's Taylor Funk of Manheim Central. So we're going to go next level with his stats. Funk will be a 4-year starter with the Barons, and as we already talked about with him, has committed to play in college at St. Joe's for Coach Phil Martelli. Over his high school career, Taylor Funk has proven to be a sharpshooter from the outside, knocking down 165 three-pointers so far. He surely will add to that, just like he will add to his career point total that currently sits at 1,273. We'll give you more on that in just a minute. But Manheim Central definitely expecting big things from Taylor Funk. Now over in Lidditz, the Warriors have their own stud on the basketball court. It is senior Riley Durr. She will also be a 4-year starter this season and is headed to Kutztown to play college. Now she can shoot the rock as well. 109 three-pointers made in her career. Her total stands right now at 1,183. Here's an amazing stat for you. Riley has scored in double figures in 63 straight games for her career. Only once has she ever scored below 10 points in a high school game. That is incredible. All right, let's move over to Ephrata for another girls scorer who is putting up a lot of points for her team. Caroline Stauffer, heading into her 4th year for the Lady Mounts. Hasn't quite hit 1,000 points yet, but we're keeping an eye on it. She's sitting at 941, so just about 59 points away from joining that elite club. She also has made 125 three-pointers, which puts her 6 away from tying Megan Heck's record of 131. By the way, Stauffer heading to Kutztown, where she'll team with Riley Durr for the next 4 years. Finally, over in Cocalico, the Eagles have themselves a rising star on the boys team. Aiden Trynoski scored nearly 300 points in his sophomore season. Now he is the go-to guy with Tucker Lesko off to college. Trynoski can light it up from the outside, hitting 43 three-pointers in his only varsity season, so we will keep an eye on him this winter. Now, among these impact players, there are a couple of things that we're keeping an eye on as they chase history for their respective programs. Taylor Funk climbing up the ranks of the all-time boys scoring list. Now, you can see him there at number 4, just behind Jordan Gatchell, but also chasing former teammate Matt Walsh, who's only at 1,365. That's 92 away. Funk will be in 2nd place after that, mostly the entire season to track down Tom Kneff. On the girls' side, Warwick's Riley Durr inking her 1,000th point last year around Christmas. Now she's moving up the all-time Warwick scoring list. Durr 3rd overall in girls scoring behind Allison Runk, who she should pass shortly, and then Meg Abley, whose 2,100 points is probably out of reach. So we will keep you updated on those players and how they're doing throughout the season. Still more to come on our preseason show, though. After the break, we will have Eric May join us for a good discussion on the section title contenders and maybe get some predictions for the winter season. That's coming up next. Stay with us.
This high school game night preseason basketball show is brought to you by Yogurt Works Cafe in Ephrata. We're more than just frozen yogurt.
Welcome back to our preseason show. I'm joined now by the voice that you've heard here at BRC11 for years, Eric May. He's our main play-by-play caller, and you've actually called a lot of LL action over these years, haven't you, Eric?
Quite a few, yeah.
Right?
And memorable moments. I mean, I could go through each school and come up with some
you probably have seen a lot.
tremendous games.
And that means that you are the perfect guy to have in here talking about the basketball teams that will be vying for the section titles. And since you usually get to call the boys action, we will stay with just the fellas for this purpose. As I mentioned earlier in the show, there are some changes around the LL League. When we look at Section 1, will it be the normal guys contending, or can anybody kind of sneak in there to get that section title?
Well, the first thing I look at is Lebanon moving up to Section 1. They were the Section 2 champs last year. But right here, you got McCaskey, Hempfield, Manheim Township, pretty much your perennial contenders as far as Section 1 is concerned. Each team, though, like you look at McCaskey, you lose Kobe Gans.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, a huge loss. And 6 seniors, so they're going to be fairly young.
Wow.
Danny Walk, on the other hand, has got a lot of players back, and you know he's going to have his team ready. Manheim Township, Tyler Crespo came in as a freshman, lit it up. They're young. Penn Manor's got size. You got Logan Horn with Cedar Crest. Warwick's got really nice balance. I think a couple of early season wins could be a huge benefit for them.
Yeah, and I saw Warwick out at practice. They've got some athletes. It's just a matter of putting it all together and seeing how they do. So that's Section 1. We'll move over to Section 2. That's really where probably the biggest shakeup happened here in the league. This one seems a little bit wide open. I know people are going to lean to Manheim Central. You know, what are your thoughts on this? This is really going to be interesting this season.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you know what? I think Manheim Central is going to relish the fact that they got the bullseye on them. Taylor Funk, be prepared for double and triple teams. So I think their success is going to be based on who's going to step up and help him out.
Well, and we should talk about this. At least 8 seniors on that team.
Oh,
so, you know, they've got a lot of experience.
Yeah, a lot of depth coming back this year. LS has got some athletes. At Cocalico, you lose Tucker Lesko.
Yeah.
Who's going to step up and score? Aiden Trynoski's the first guy. But again, it's going to be who else is going to help him out.
There needs to be some other help. You're right, yeah.
You know, I saw your interview with Charlie Fisher. Love his enthusiasm, and I think it's going to take some time. But I think once he gets his system in place, Ephrata is going to be a fun team to watch as well.
They do have some players over there, so yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. We should mention Dylan Hastings over there at Solanco. So a bunch of different. We didn't even talk about Donegal. A lot of teams that could really make some noise That's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, we'll have a bunch of them on the TV this year. And then finally, Section 3, Lancaster Catholic is the defending Section 4 champ, but that no longer exists. So we'll see. Are they the team to kind of rule Section 3 here, or can somebody else, give them a run for their money?
Well, I think obviously you always have to consider Lancaster Catholic one of the favorites. Lancaster Mennonite is another team that makes a lot of noise, even more so in the postseason.
Right.
But I think these two are going to be the ones to watch. Don't forget about Columbia, though. Andrew Sheckard was a scorer at Columbia. So the nice thing is now, with the way these sections are all condensed, this is going to be a fun season to watch, because you never know. On any given night, somebody's going to step up.
Yeah, and no section crossovers this year, so you'll only be playing everybody in your own section. All right, thank you so much again for joining us. The football season was so much fun. Basketball, as we see, going to be a lot of fun to cover this year.
Just got to get the different mindset.
Yeah, right, you got to get in the mode. And I'll be doing most of the games with Eric this year, so that means you'll be seeing both of us very soon. And coming up after the break, I'll actually unveil our 2016-2017 basketball broadcast schedule. See when your team will play on BRC11 next. Welcome back. This preseason basketball show has been all about getting you ready for the upcoming winter season. So let's take a look at our BRC11 broadcast schedule. There will be a total of 17 live basketball games during the regular season, all of them airing right here on BRC11. I highlighted some of the key matchups here for you so it's easier to see. Girls basketball kicking us off on Monday, December 12th. Defending Section 2 champs Ephrata hosting Penn Manor. Then it's our doubleheader that we like to show every year. Warwick and Ephrata at Ephrata this year. Boys leading off at 6:30, then the girls at 8 p.m. And then in the new year, what a great rivalry that has started here. The Manheim Central Barons, Cocalico Eagles visiting the Eagles Nest will host that showdown. And then a couple days later, Warwick Boys hosting JP McCaskey, the defending league champs. Couple of other highlighted games wanted to show you there on the schedule. We'll see the Ephrata Boys, CV Boys, Manheim Central, Cocalico, and Warwick Girls. You can find this complete list of our games on our blog, news11sports.tv. And that'll do it for our high school game night basketball preseason show. I hope you enjoyed this sneak preview of the upcoming LL basketball season. The games start this Friday night in tip-off tournaments, and then, as I said, December 12th, right here on BRC11. Got to say a big thank you to our HSGN crew for making the show possible, and thank you for watching. I'm Chad Landers, and I'll see you at the basketball games.